This is an illustration I made in Clip Studio Paint of my series Apple Black, published and serialized on Saturday AM. Books available worldwide. Apple Black is also available to read on Webtoon Originals. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys not just how to illustrate this, but how to do it in an optimized way where a lot of the assets here can be reused for a host of things. Every major series has top tier illustrations, and why should your series be any different? Starting off with the sketches. At first I was trying to nail the perfect look for my main character, Sano, but honestly I was getting ahead of myself. I knew I wanted him to be in the forefront with Opal, you can say the secondary main character, flanking him. So it wasn't a terrible idea to at least figure out the basics of his pose. I knew I wanted to show off his arm blessed by a god, but once I had those sorted out, I went back to the basics. I like to sketch really small at first just to get a feel, almost a storyboard blueprint of how the illustration is going to be put together. So now we have Sano and Opal figured out. I want to figure out where everybody else is going to go. Starting out, you should know who is going to make the cut. And right there, now I'm just figuring out, based off of the characters on the list, how they're going to be posed, where they're going to be positioned. And I want to make sure the composition is strong. You want to make sure there is a focal point in the composition. So the focal point here is Sano, hence why he's the biggest. So there's a hierarchy of size. And then also there's a hierarchy of placement. Think strongly about how the viewer's eye is going to be guided throughout the illustration. So here you can kind of see maybe they will start with Sano since he's the biggest at the bottom and then work their way up, which tells me I should probably have the logo somewhere at the top. I have Ruby behind them because he's another popular character, an important character, so I know he's going to be positioned right there. Knowing the character also kind of gives you an idea of how you want them to be posed. He's loud and brash, so him yelling at the back just works. Simon is a little bit mysterious, so maybe he's in the corner and kind of looking away so we don't get to see his full body. Again, adding to that mystery of the character. But he's smiling, he's a little bit of a comic relief type, so it works. Obi right there, pulling some string, electric current flowing through it. Really cool pose with his cloak flowing in the wind or farming in the corner. I think that works. Samu somewhere there in the corner as well. And if you notice, the characters are getting smaller and smaller so that everything is not oversaturated, at least from a character standpoint. Remember the hierarchy of size and hierarchy of placement. If all the characters were the same size, it might be a little bit more difficult, especially with this kind of frame. So I'm giving the image depth with characters going further and further back. Now when we get to the top, I can then tweak that rule a little bit because the eyes will rest at the top, so I can have bigger characters, but maybe focus mainly on their face or something like that. Michaela and Angelo kind of backing each other right there, close pals, seems like a fitting placement. And then I end with Madame Naomi in the corner and Erotis far in the back, which if you follow the series, having Erotis furthest in the back and then Sano in the forefront, it's all full circle. These sketches are just super rough, super small. We're zooming in a lot right now. And I do it super small because it's faster for me to put out. Then once I'm done, I blow it up and I give the sketches a little bit more detail. This is kind of a similar approach I use when I'm making my manga pages. Except sometimes I don't do a detailed sketch. I just skip the detailed sketch and just jump straight into the inking and figure it out. I have several videos that kind of break down my approach to that and how it helps me make manga pages much faster, especially with the help of manga assistants. Shout outs to y'all. If you guys are enjoying the video, please don't forget to like the video. Holy Ghost, smash the subscribe button and hit the bell so you stay notified each time I upload absolutely anything. Support the Patreon as well. It helps support production of the videos, the video editors, and manga assistants to help me do what we do. Any support is greatly appreciated. When we got to this part, I decided to play around with his hand and the hand gesture. I'll have another how to draw hands video on the channel at some point. I'll find a fun way to do it. But sometimes I'm kind of playing around with different poses, and this is where iteration comes into play. Nothing is set in stone until it's fully out. And so here I'm playing around with different hand gestures to see which one works the best. I've seen some people use 3D stuff, take photos of your hand and use it as reference, yada, yada, yada. Feel free to do that as well, especially in the beginning, but make sure you're doing it in the sense that you're doing it to study it and learn it, not to always have to rely on it each time. Keeps you a little bit more versatile. If you're interested in cool how to draw books, we have 2 how to draw books that you might be interested in that I think are top tier. I might be a bit biased, but I think they're the best out there. The only 2 I would add onto them would be maybe Understanding Comics and Manga in Theory by Araki. And I think if you have those 4 tutorial books, that's all you need. There are other great tutorial books, I am sure, but when I'm thinking about essentials, those are all you need. At least to get your feet wet, and then you can deep dive into more stuff. So we just continue with the detail, and we make sure we apply this to all the characters. Now straight up with the inking, if you're using Clip Studio Paint, I use the real G Pen when I ink. You can use the G Pen, you can use whatever works for you and your style. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you've already tried to draw things already, so you've developed somewhat of a style, at least a little bit. But for me, I like the real G Pen because it mimics the more traditional look And that's just what I want to go for. I have an idea of the frame of the whole illustration, but I'm drawing even beyond that, because in my head, even if this gets cut out and part of the Sano gets cut off the frame, at least I will have that full Sano to use as a PNG for other things. And I have the same approach for all the characters. When we're inking all these characters, you will notice we sketch, do the inks, add the flats on a separate layer, and then I do the same thing, rinse and repeat for all the characters, and I draw their full body. They have their own layers in their own folders, which also makes things easier for me to move the characters around on the canvas to make sure I get the composition just right. I might have to resize a character here and there, just playing with it, giving myself more flexibility with the placement, size, all of that. This is Opal, same thing, ink, and then we add in the flats. Sometimes when I'm adding the flats, again, on a separate layer, I have a layer beneath everything on a solid color, saturated enough so I make sure that I'm not missing any holes in the illustration and the flats are covering everything. This is one way of doing it, but everybody has their own way of doing it. There are other ways where a silhouette of the whole character will be filled in, and then you color on top of the silhouette. But again here, especially if you're an intermediate artist, these are just inks and flats. We got one for Ruby, we got one for Simon, and again, doing the whole full body. This one was extra cool. Again, the idea here is for me to be able to repurpose this for a host of things. And so with Obi, I actually drew him with the cloak on, without the cloak on. You can see I did a red sketch just to decide how it's going to look underneath the cloak. And as a result, I have 3 versions of this Obi, one with the cloak on, one with the cloak off, and then one with the cloak on wearing a mask. These are all attires that you would find him wearing in Apple Black itself. Lily, simple approach, same deal as before. Neon, same thing, inks and flats. We go on to Osamu. A lot of this stuff is really cool because if you want to learn a lot more about these characters, who they are, make sure you go watch my Meet the Ensemble, Meet the Characters video that goes into a whole lot more detail. It's just really cool to do character description videos like I did when I started this channel like a decade ago. And so this Osamu pose right here is pretty much a callback to the Osamu drawing I did a decade ago. Here's an example of dropping in that silhouette and then finishing it up. You can do it where there's another layer on top of the flats kind of clipped to that silhouette. There are many ways of pulling this off, regardless of what art software you're using, whether it be Clip Studio Paint, Procreate, Photoshop, the list goes on. Get some Madame Naomi in here, then Erotis, and after that, we are golden enough to move to the next step, shading. Now, based on the environment, you pick a dark hue of a color of your choice. On a new layer, on a linear burn blending mode, this layer is going to be above the flats, and then you just use it to shade. Sometimes I like to turn off the flats because this way I could literally just draw lines to figure out where the shading is going to go and where I'm going to fill in using the fill tool, shortcut G. At least you keep hitting it until you get the paint bucket. And it's easier to do this when the flats are off because the way it works, when I'm selecting all of it at once, you're selecting and holding shift so you can select multiple spots at once and then you fill in while on this linear burn layer. It's easier to select all those spots when the flats are off because it works with like the contrast of literally what you can see. It's a little bit complicated. You don't have to turn off the flats, but I tend to do that sometimes. If the flats are on, it can mess with the contrast viewing a little bit. And so I might select something and it doesn't select properly. So it's just best for me, at least in my approach. There are many ways to do this. For this anime cell shading approach, I just turn off the flats temporarily. And just like we did before, we rinse and repeat. For Ruby here, the impulse weapon he's holding that he's conjured up, think like red lanterns and stuff. I had a layer clipped to the ink layer for Ruby. That way I could give just that line art a different color. Just a quick mini tutorial. This is how the clip layers work. Come here to the weapon, find the line art layer, which is this. But on that line art layer, we have a layer above it that is clipped to it. To unclip is this button right here. And you can see that we have this just drawing right over it. But when we clip, all that scribble gets snapped to the parts that they cover in the ink layer. Like if we continue that, let's say a shortcut eyedropper just to get the exact color. And you can use any brush you want. The brackets are shortcuts to increase the size. And you can see how it's only affecting the line art layer because that's the only thing you can draw over because that's what the layer is clipped to. Have this black on a new layer right here and we just filled it in. Create a new layer here and we take, say, red, and we do this X. That layer with the X, if we clip it above the black, and you will see a reddish bar on the left of the layer, right There, now you can see it's only clipped to what's underneath, and that's how clipping works. And you can just turn it on and off as you see fit. Once you clip a layer over it, you can then color something else over the same pass, and it'll just change the color. After that, we keep going and we color in the shading for the rest of our characters. Angelo, Mikhail, Madame Naomi, the spooky Erotis in the back. Once I was done with that, I did another layer above everything for the lights all over his body. Speaking of lights, just like the shading where we created a new layer for lighting, you create another layer, but this time the blending mode maybe could be a screen or lighten or add glow, which I think is what we're using here. You reduce the opacity just the same way you reduce the opacity with the shading layer, but here you reduce it even further. It just depends on how intense you want the light to hit the character. I'm going to pick a uniform color, something warm, and then I'm going to go over all the characters, their clothing, especially on materials that I think would shine. Places you definitely want to hit are hair, metal, leather, or parts of the bodies where light hits the most. Throughout this whole process, you want to have a decent and uniform understanding of where the light source is coming from for all the characters and where they're going to be positioned in the composition. So it's not just for the shading, but you're also thinking about this for the lighting as well. The highlights. After all of that, I do create another layer above that with a lighten or screen blending mode, reduce the opacity, and I take an airbrush with a light blue for those lights that are shining on Erotis' skin. Similar thing for Sano's arm and all those impulse particles that a thing is conjuring up. I'm kind of using it to add to the composition of the whole illustration and giving it even more of a focus point because all of those things are going to be, in some ways, pointing at Sano at the same time. You just want to make sure you do that on a separate layer because that way you can then give it an effect, like a radio blur pointed at Sano's Erotis arm. Because of the flexibility I afforded myself, I can now actually reshape some of the characters and reposition them, figuring out where the logo is going to be. And then I have this green frame just to let me know where stuff might get cut off and so the illustration doesn't look wonky. Same thing like I said before. Here's another example of having a layer clipped to the ink layer of Obi right there. And those strings where he's going to be passing the electric current on the clip layer on the color white, I'm just going over them to give that string look. If you've seen series like Basilisk and you look at the string, you kind of get the vibe that I'm going for. Then I'll give it a little bit of lightning, some green lightning. Never really seen that color, so it should be fun. I tighten up the illustration overall, and then we go on to the next part where I add this red lighting that hits the character. But first, I need to set the mood. So I create a new layer, I clip it to the flats, and this is to the flats of each individual character in their folders. Here, for some atmospheric pressure, the characters that are further back, the opacity of this layer, that is a multiply blending mode, that takes up the whole canvas, but it's clipped to just the flats of the character. The opacity should generally be low, because if it's too high, it might be difficult to even see the character, so the opacity should be low, but it's going to be the lowest for Sano, so we see him the clearest, and the characters that are further back, the opacity is just going to be rising up a little bit. It gives the piece a little bit more focus on the main character. The characters that are in the forefront, like Sano, Opal, Ruby, and Simon, they'll have the least opacity, and it just increases the further back you go. That way you see the Erotis in the furthest back has the highest opacity, and he's kind of hidden, but that's kind of cool, right? It adds to this mystic vibe of the piece where you can keep looking at the illustration for a long time to uncover all these little intricate details. Another thing I do is find a lighter color, add another layer that I'm clipping to the same flats, and again, I do this to all the flats of each individual character in their folders. A blending mode of screen, and I reduce the opacity, at least 50. It depends on how intense you want this lighting to be. And then I'm just going to create new lights that are hitting the character, just to add a little bit more dynamic lighting to the whole piece. Giving it a little bit of sauce. Y'all forgot about the sauce? Don't forget about the sauce. I highly recommend you guys play around with blending modes, opacities, adjustment layers, effects, blurs, and all of that. Chromatic aberration, all these things. Just having it in your toolkit keeps the wheels turning in your head. And you can come up with really interesting combos when you mix and match all these effects and filters and yada yada yada. But for each of the layers that I create for each of these characters, on this new screen layer with a 50% opacity and a screen blending mode, I just do some lighting for all of them, rinse and repeat. Again, you still want to have an understanding of where this particular reddish light source is coming from, and here we have it coming from the left. And you want to make sure it's hitting the characters in interesting ways, giving it more shape, more depth, more volume. And honestly, it just makes everybody look like they're aura farming, and I'm here for it. Look, you got a little bit on his abs. We're not even going to see his abs, but it's there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? After that, we figure out the logo. I'm going to make sure the logo is placed in a way that's not distracting. Created a new layer with a blending mode of a linear burn, similar to the same color of the shading of the characters of the individual, similar to the color used to shade the individual characters. But now I'm just airbrushing with the low opacity on the edges, giving it a little bit of a vignette. So as it's darker on the edges, you're less likely to look there. Ultimately, still with this goal of making you focus on the characters. And this is just adding those little final touches. And then voila! And that is how we cook. That is how we add the sauce. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Go read Apple Black on Webtoon or purchase the books. And that is how the sauce is made. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to read Apple Black on Webtoon. Get the book, support however you can. Like this video, hit the bell so you stay notified each time I upload absolutely anything. Turn on all notifications. Links to everything you could possibly need will be in the description below. Support the Patreon, like I said, that helps the videos and the manga. Check out more videos. It's White Manga, and I'm out in 9,000.